Like always, don't expect fancy editing. It's just clear-cut answers here, no bullshit, no therapy talk. No fluff, no fucking shite, no constant fucking bombardment of your nervous fucking vagus system and all this type of shit. And if you did breath work, you'll be able to fix your state. I'm talking about that one individual, that man, that panic attack, who's just had that panic attack, right? They're a business owner, they're an entrepreneur, they're fucking driven, they're a family man. And now their life is being ripped upside down from this. Panic attacks, intrusive thoughts, worry, depersonalization, derealization, insomnia, heightened emotions, identity change. You feel like you're an anxious person. Everything above, all right? And everything feels like automatic on this. I'm talking about the individual who really probably never thought anxiety would touch him or it wasn't fucking that bad. And now it's absolutely fucking turning your life upside down, because I've been there. All right, I'm not one for looking for sympathy. I'm not one for anybody to feel sorry for myself. I was driven, I was focused, I was a business owner, I was trying to fucking bash down doors. I was trying to better myself for my family and for my family's future. And fucking this ripped my life apart. Turbulence Operating System is my personal one-to-one coaching program, all right? I'm going to run you through it now. If you want an in-depth version of this video, because Instagram only lets me do 3 minutes, just send me a message with the word video and I'll send you over an in-depth video that I've put together, okay? So listen, you've got all these symptoms that you're experiencing from panic attacks. What you don't want to be doing is getting worse and staying stuck, okay? Fighting it gets you worse. Your nervous system is in a situation whereby it's frayed, it's broken. Fighting it makes it more frayed, starts doubling down these symptoms. So the opposite of what fighting is allowing and relaxing, so then these start slowly disappearing. Your reactions to it, instead of saying, oh, why me, how about say, fucking come if you wish, this is no longer ruining my day. Waiting to live. You're not going to be recovered and then go and live, all right? That is never going to happen. Avoidance, don't avoid places, walk into the fear. Looking for a cure, there's no magic fix here. There's understanding and answers, but there's no magic fix. It comes from time, patience, and healing, all right? Healing needs to take place through allowing this process. Now, what recovery looks like and the rebuild. Understanding, you need to know what's going on, all right? It reduces the fear. The reaction, like I've just spoke about, fucking come if you wish. That's the reaction that you want. Building a new set of daily habits, building a purpose, and understanding setbacks needs to happen to be able to recover. Patience and identity work, okay? All these things will be in an in-depth video. If you comment video, send me a message and I'll send it over to you. Okay, so following on, all right? So just obviously cut the video short for Instagram's purpose and 3 minutes or whatever, yeah. But I'll just grab this pen here. All right, so listen, if you're on YouTube, then I'm just going to run you through, really, to be honest, the more simple, clear-cut way forward, because like I just said earlier, if you stay in here, all right, for me, it wasn't a choice. Like, it wasn't a choice that I was staying there and accepting that I was going to be anxious for the rest of my life when I've literally just done all that, this work, fucking building the business, having the family, going on holidays, building memories, all this type of shit. And unexpectedly, the fucking volcano went off with a panic attack, and then I'm down here fighting all this shit. And then hoping that therapy is going to fix me, or hoping stuff is going to fix me. I was fortunate enough to get the understanding through a book called At Last Alive. Or I'm not writing it because my fucking handwriting's terrible. At Last Alive, and that's why I created my own book, Turbulence. Okay, because when I was going through it, the thick of it, not just once, I've been through it twice, all right? I'll just briefly explain that if you've not watched any of my other previous videos. About 13, 14-year-old, I basically went through a panic attack through an event that happened in my life. I won't really class that first experience as the first time. However, I had about 9 to 12 months off school because I was bouncing through psychiatrists and doctors and all that type of stuff, and I just couldn't understand why I was so scared to do things. Didn't go to school for 9 to 12 months, quit football and all sorts of stuff, all right, and I played at a pretty good level as well. But But I don't really class that as the first time, because the first time it wasn't even really, when I'm looking back, that was bad. It was when I was about 21-year-old, right? I was in the army at the time, and all of a sudden, boom, this panic attack happened. It happened again, all right? And it can happen again, all right? You can build up the worry pipe. You can build up the worry, you can build up the energy, the consistent bombardments. Now, for me, I had sort of similar OCD from the first panic attack, like washing my hands and all sorts of stuff, and just an overload of washing hands too much and just fucking bothering about what things might happen. It's like just little things that, like, if you didn't do it, or if you didn't wash your hands that many times, this might happen. When the reality is, really, fucking, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to die. Well, you won't fucking really experience any of these feelings anyway, so, like, what's the point in even worrying about it, right? But anyway, cut a long story short, it's 21. My life was, I had a panic attack and fucking everything started going mental then, like, real strong depersonalisation, sleepless nights, panic attacks, worry, etc., right? And I fixed my state through at last alive, Paul David. Now, I left the army and then I started a business, and all I've done since then was start a business. For about 9 or 10 years, all I was doing was banging down doors. Started this business, grew it to like second locations and all sorts of stuff, and basically, like, I had 3 kids along the way. And I was doing this business for too long. I was going home in the evening and I would fucking hate it, and I'd say to my wife, I'd be like, I'm hating this. But I carried on doing it and I was dragging it out, right? And then guess what happens? You drag something out that you hate for so long, fucking wadumph, bang. That was my second experience. I was sat in the car, my legs felt like that, they weren't my own. And it was again, it was a case of worry, intrusive thoughts. Why me? This can't be me again. Why is this happening? Not accepting anything. And I went through the cycle of this, all right, again, but it was double. Like, it was 10x, because the symptoms are completely different and double, all right? They were fucking stronger, more aggressive. Obviously, my nervous system was just more frayed at the time, all right? But I went through a process then, even knowing what to do, all right, because I've recovered before. I always had it back in my mind that I'd be able to recover again, because I've recovered once. That was a fucking bonus, right? If I didn't come across this book on the first episode at 21... fuck knows what I'd have gone through if I didn't have the right information. That is, if I didn't have the understanding, right? I don't have a clue where I'd be, right? Because my life was so tiny. In a short, fucking fast way, matter of 1 to 3 months, I went from confident, smashing down doors, my fucking life's fucking amazing, to absolutely fucking boom, flatlined. All right, absolutely done. All right, I couldn't quite figure out what was going on, right? Again, you go to doctors crying your eyes out with your wife, and you're constantly crying to your wife, why the fuck's, you can't get out of bed. And people come and say to me, like, oh, I was bad, but, like, are you this bad? I mean, I'm not having a fucking tit for tat or anything like that, but, and who's the worst and who's the best, and who's got the best anxiety and all this type of fucking shit, because it really is irrelevant. But I was fucking really bad, okay, chronic, where I couldn't really move my body. All right, I couldn't fucking really move my body. I don't know how I went to the gym, and I don't know how I operated. I don't know how I took my kids to football. I really fucking don't, right? But anyway, it came back again in 2020, all right? And I said then, shit, this is going to fucking last a lot longer, all right? I knew that I could recover, but I didn't realise it was going to, last 9 to 12 months of recovery, all right? And it's not a case of 9 to 12 months of hell. All right, it's a case of these slowly start disappearing once you start allowing, all right, and the reaction to it to kick in. You know what? And the biggest lesson I can give to you, if you want to have the fastest way out, is understand that word, patience. All right, but not only that, start applying all these things to one side, okay? And what I mean by purpose, all right, not everyone can go and start a brand new business or what have you, right? But if something needs to change in your business, in your life, something needs to happen in terms of change, all right, you need to figure that out, okay? So you need to know what your purpose is. But however, the biggest point of call for me, and me giving you the fastest path, really comes to a physical element of change. And what I mean by that is let's say your fucking body, all right, you're out of shape, you know you should look after yourself a little bit better, you know that you're doing all this fucking business knocking down doors, but you're not looking after yourself. So automatically what I would do, this is how I got out the first time, is do a 12-week transformation. This is how I would do it. Transformation. Diet, okay, exercise, habits, morning routine, and remove shit like scrolling your phone and other habits, right? And when I speak about diet, okay, this has been a forefront of one of my expertise, one of the fields that I've operated in for many years, okay? I would be personally looking at tracking your macros. That is the pinnacle of change for transformation, all right? It's going to get you in the best shape possible. It's going to help you focus, all right? And it's going to help you stay on track. Even if you are fucking struggling with this, you can still fucking drill your mindset into, do you know what? If I'm not going to be mentally well for a bit, at least I'm going to be physically fucking on top of my shit when I recover. And that is a combination of understanding. These arrows are fucking brilliant, by the way. I'm so fucking... The art is unbelievable. Understanding and purpose and building yourself a rebuild, connecting together. And at the end of it, 12 weeks, it's not a case of if you'll be fixed or trying to force being fixed and trying to force recovery. It's just a case of you're no longer doing the fucking Googling, you're no longer doing the worrying, no longer doing the fucking onslaught of this shit, because this is the bigger reason to put at your forefront of your mind rather than fucking all this type of shit, because you never wanted to be here. You never wanted to be an anxiety expert, and now you've fucking become one from constant searching. That is my Turbulence operating system, all right? Listen, you can go and grab my book in one of the links, all right? That's where everyone sort of goes to firstly to get help. If you're an individual who's a business owner, an entrepreneur, or someone in a high-driven focus who likes and always is looking at investing in themselves, you can go onto the other link, which is called a booking link called Calendly, and that is an assessment. All right, you can book an assessment with me. We'll run through an hour of conversation of speaking about this shit, and then how we rebuild and recover through the Turbulence operating system. But I'm just pre-warning you now, I've created that book on a purpose of that I can help every single man who needs the help, okay? Because I recovered here, okay? My second time round, I recovered here, but then I recovered here through coaching, all right? And I invested in myself, because the reality is, it doesn't matter how much this costs. Living here is not a life. That is not a life that you want. I know this full well, because it's a miserable existence. How much better do I feel now? I'm fully recovered, but not only that, I have traits of purpose. I have traits of a different mindset of reaction. I have better habits. I have an understanding of what life is trying to teach me. I have identity shift. And genuinely, my business is probably about 10 times more powerful, not just financially, but in terms of happiness of lifestyle, all because of I put investment into myself. All right, so listen, do what you need to do, or just take away the video as an inspiration of, do you know what, I can fucking recover, and that's how I would recover, all right? But I'd urge you to either go and get the book, yeah, at 14 quid. You can get the audio for 7 quid, so it's 14. You can only get the audio with the book. It's like a double order. Or if you want to go one step further, then go and put that link, all right?